What's the one habit you haven't changed since your childhood? Pop-Tarts on a rainy afternoon. It started as just some after-school snack Mom quickly whipped up while my brother and I were playing in the backyard during an absolute deluge. Our home was in a place that very rarely got rain, maybe 2 to 3 times a year, so we always loved playing outside on those special days. We were sopping wet, cold, and the warmth of the pastry gave me a transcendental experience. The hot gooiness, the cool wind, the sound of sheets of rain rustling the patio roof. All senses were fully activated at that moment. Ever since then, I've made it a point to get Pop-Tarts when it's rainy. I'll sit outside under a sheltered overhang, and when I take that bite, I feel like I made my old childhood home sitting by my brother. I know most people have that ratatouille food, that one bite that brings powerful memories of when they were kids. Mine is the maple cinnamon Pop-Tarts, but only in a heavy rainfall. It's socially acceptable to go up a ladder on all fours, but not stairs. Yet there's no clear cut-off between the two. A series of steps can be positioned at any angle relative to one another. See this handy diagram. For example, it makes me want someone to do a social experiment to find out what angles of steps what percentage of people are comfortable climbing on all fours in front of other people versus not in front of other people. I bet people bust out the demon monkey stance at way lower angles if they think no one is watching. And surely things like the depth of each step and the presence or lack of handrails also play a role. I'm 28 and have been biting my nails since I was physically able to. I tried fake nails, acrylic/gel/dip, and I would literally bite through the fake nail or rip them off to get to my nails. In the last 6 weeks though my nails have grown out for the first time in my life because I got Invisalign. You can bite them with the Invisalign but it takes way too much effort to actually break something off. A very spendy way to quit, but incredible effective for me. This has been a bad habit of mine for around 40 years. I've gone through 2 periods where I was able to stop for a considerable length of time. I'm actually in a good period right now, and amazingly it has now been over a year of pretty much no biting. Surprisingly for me, I found a big help was COVID and not being around people as much, so there's at least an element of social anxiety for my nail biting. From a habit perspective, I try to keep my nails short, usually by filing, and I also try to have other things to do with my hands. For example, have a fidget cube nearby. I'm not sure if it's me being lazy, or my ADHD, but I always keep procrastinating. Mostly I'll be procrastinating the procrastination, because I feel bad for not doing the stuff I need to do, so bad that I do something else instead as a sort of substitute. And then at some point forget that I was actually procrastinating until I randomly remember it a few weeks later. I genuinely just remembered my goddamn taxes. I forgot about it when I procrastinated by cleaning up my bedroom. I always have multiple stuffed animals on my bed that I cuddle with. I like to collect them and occasionally get new ones too. Always have ever since I was very young. It had been a point of contention between my mother and I, but I think she's finally reluctantly accepted I'm not going to grow out of it. Except she still gives me a hard time, like recently she gave away the wrong one by mistake and thinks I have no right to be hurt because it's just a stuffed animal. I started off cracking my knuckles and gradually moved to my back, then my shoulders, my knees, ankles, and sometimes when I make a sudden move, my hips will crack. My mom always says she's jealous of my ability to crack my back after a long day of work, and it's loud. I get embarrassed when I do it and someone stares at me like I just broke my back. I still go to bed by 10 and wake up at 7. Even if I don't fall asleep straight away, you better bet I'm tucked in by 10. Similarly, even if I don't leave my bed straight away, you better bet I'm conscious by 7. And yes, this is very fun to explain to every guy I dated. Worse yet, this was more or less my weekend schedule as a kid. For school I used to sleep at 9:30 and wake up at 5:30. I've had my watch for 4 years and when I put it on my wrist for the first time, I haven't taken it off for more than a day. I wear it through the night, in the shower, when I make food, pretty much 24/7. My skin under it is a complete different color than the rest of my body because I don't take it off. And no one even told me that I've been wearing it on the wrong wrist this whole entire time. If I get a box of cereal, I immediately have a bowl when I get home. When I was a kid, picking out cereal was exciting because there were so many options. Am I in the mood for Cookie Crisp, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Strawberry Krispies or Cocoa Flakes? Especially if it was something new, I had to try it as soon as we got it. So now my choices are a little less sugar-filled, but I still have that urge. We moved to a new house in a small rural town. I'd never lived rural. FYI, it's dark out there after the streetlights end, especially if you're a city kid who went camping a couple times and hated it. So I'm laying in bed one night and son of a bitch, is my goddamn closet door opening by itself? Sort of. After I started breathing again, I turned on a light and it was my cat opening the new sliding mirror doors. She was curled up inside the closet right where I could see her, blinking at the sudden light. Pretty sure I died. Mark Cuban said on Shark Tank that he calculated how long he spent macking his bed over the course of a week and it added up to be a lot of wasted time over 1 year span. I can't remember how long it was when added together, but it was a lot. Interesting, yes, but being out I have to make my bed every day the exact same way, so. But it was worth noting to maybe make you feel better about your decision. What habit didn't I keep? I pick my nose, just not when people are watching anymore. Rip my toenails off when they grow to a certain length. Avoid stepping on lines in the ground where I can. Try to step on a line with my right foot if I've stepped on one with my left. You know, to even it out. I'm not very good at changing. Ever since I was an infant, my mom theorizes I did this even in the womb. I would self-soothe by bending and squishing the top part of my ears. I used to do it to both ears, but when I went to school and had to start holding a pencil, I stopped doing it on my dominant side. The cartilage was finally able to mostly grow in on that side, but the other side never fully developed cartilage, so it's softer and smooshy to this day. I have no idea how, why I started this or why I have never stopped. But that shit is soothing as all get out. Sometimes I'll bend it and it'll get stuck like that, in kind of an elf-ear position. I don't always notice that I've done this and often find myself scrambling to pop it back to its normal spot before people ask what the hell is wrong with my ear. I'll go to McDonald's, order the 6-piece nugget Happy Meal, not even the burgers cause they're crap and I prefer Burger King. I'll get the kids' toy and start playing with it in the car before I even touch the food. I get weird looks if it's from the drive-through line cause I'll park and eat and whatever there. Sometimes people see me and look like they're ready to call a mental hospital or some shit. It's fucking hilarious. I still pick my nose. I don't do it in public though. I think that due to my nasal deviation because my nose was broken, that the air doesn't circulate through it normally. I constantly just get giant rocks that can't be blown out that cause discomfort and make breathing through my nose difficult. I can either pick my nose and get it over with, or run to the bathroom every couple of hours to blow my nose and spend a roll of TP a day. My wife thinks this is so strange and it very well may be. You know those blankets that have satin around the edges? When I was a kid, for as far back as I could remember, I always loved running that satin part between my fingers down to the webbing of my fingers. All of them. Since I'm 36 years old and no longer have a satin-trimmed blanket, I've since settled for using the opening of the pillowcase and the sheets. I also like to run the edges of the sheets, near my feet, and run them between my toes. I have no idea why I do it. I assume it's a comfort thing. Lastly, when I run or sometimes subconsciously I tuck my thumb between my index finger and middle finger. Again, no idea why I do it, but I've always done it as far back as I can remember. For an added bonus, I've caught my kids doing it too lol. 45-year-old man here. A good habit, tricked into it by my parents. is not procrastinating. Years of practice. My parents would say, get the boring stuff out of the way quickly so you've got more time for fun stuff later. To this day, I really enjoy getting the boring stuff done and out of the way. More time for sitting and doing nothing later on. I'm middle-aged now. Shut up, you kids. Get off my lawn. I still sleep with this very special lamb stuffy. My brother and sister got it for me as a Christmas present when I was 2. I dubbed her Mama and haven't parted with her since. She is especially comforting because she has a rice bag that you can take out and warm up, so she has some weight and warmth to her. She has gotten me through many a stormy, sick, or sad night. I'm 18 now, and not ashamed to say I still fall asleep holding her. If there is a mirror or a reflective surface in the room, I will make eye contact with my own reflection, instead of other people, when talking to others. It's a weird habit from when I was a kid that I haven't been able to shake. Luckily mirrors aren't too common, so most people haven't noticed. Fulfilling the preferences of other people I think I need to make happy while ignoring what I really want for me. I was drilled by my mom to do what others want me to do, regarding every part of their life. I never did anything for me personal. I always did it for others to make them happy, and I do so until this day. I never was able to break that circle. Whenever I would say no or whatever would make someone unhappy, I'd change my answer until they hear what they want to hear. Some would talk to me to make me feel guilty, and it works every time. I can't break that circuit since I was drilled for 21 years now. I am 21. I'd never dare to make a person feel unhappy with things I'd like. I'd rather do what they want to keep them happy. My mom always told me that when I had bad grades I came up to her and tell her with a really somber look that I failed a test and that I will improve for the next one, which I did. I catch myself doing that nowadays too, but not with grades, and that's also a reason why my siblings are jealous at me, since my mom never gets mad at me as much as she gets mad at why other siblings lol. My parents were poor when I was growing up, so we didn't have a lot of food, and I know this makes no sense, but on rare occasions where we would get pizza, I used to eat pieces of the cheese off the pizza first and then eat the crust, and in my head I felt like I was getting more food that way. I still find myself doing that sometimes. Also swirling my ice cream until it's almost a liquid and then coating the spoon with it and licking it off the spoon. Sleeping while wearing an eye mask. It's sort of comforting now and tells my brain when it's time to calm down. When I was little it helped me not be scared of the dark, and now it helps me not have too much stimulation at night. Waking up early. I'm talking 4 a.m. every single day of my life, even when I get drunk the night before, even when I have nothing to do, every single time. It's been cool for the last 3 years since I got a dog, because I go for a long walk with him before sunrise. We make it home on time to sit on the deck and watch the sunrise together. Well, he sits there next to me resting after his walk. I bite the middle and ring finger of my right hand, my dominant hand. Whenever I get mad or frustrated, for whatever reason, I sucked those fingers as a child instead of sucking my thumb. I broke that habit like children normally do with thumb sucking, but for some reason my brain is still hardwired to bite those fingers when I'm angry. I have calluses on the middle joint of those fingers from 20+ years of that, although I've never had anyone notice or ask me about them. It's rare that I bite them now, only if someone really pushes my buttons or if I'm tilting in a video game. I actually have 2. First is my comfort plush. I absolutely need her to sleep, and when I cuddle her to my mouth and nose I suck on my own tongue. I also cuddle her whenever. Second is rocking back and forth, while sitting down, for no reason. Most of the time I don't even notice it until someone points it out to me. Whenever I'm walking, I need to hit my fingers on corners or handrails or something. It needs to be just right. The index finger, hitting the outside of the proximal bone or the inside of the middle bone. I need to keep doing it until it feels complete. I've been doing this for years. I spit in the shower. For a while as a kid I lived in an area where tap water wasn't safe to drink, so whenever I got water in my mouth while showering, I'd spit it out. I haven't lived there in over 15 years, but I still spit out water when I shower. I used to pull up my socks from my shoes cause it felt so good for some stupid reason. I quit that a few years back after 15 years. It literally tore holes in my socks from stretching. I still pick any scab in my nose I feel. It bleeds, heals again, then it bugs me and I do it again. Not sure about that whole thing, can't help it. I don't bite my noodles. While watching Sagana as a kid, I learned that the Chinese believe if you don't bite your noodles you'll have a long life. Obviously you can still chew them. You're just not supposed to snip them with your teeth when they're partway into your mouth. Ever since, that's how I've eaten any kind of noodles. We'll see how long I live. I sleep with the same type of baby blanket I've had since I was a baby. Not the same blanket, but the same type. I've been through a dozen or so over the years. I'm not even embarrassed anymore. I sleep better and more comfortably because I've gotten used to cradling my head with something that can change shape, instead of a pillow. They stopped making my blanket about 20 years ago. I bought a lifetime supply of those suckers off eBay. I calm myself and get myself to sleep by playing with the ends, corners on pillow sheets or on my clothing. So essentially just tickling the ends of my fingers with corners. My wife thinks it's cute. My mom says I've done it since I was born, and it is very relaxing to me. I often don't even realize I'm doing it. I have to pee as close to the beginning of a game as I can if I'm playing a sport. Start with basketball when I was little and I still do it now playing adult men's softball at 37. I like to have grilled cheese and ramen noodles when I come in from playing in the snow, or shoveling now. I count the number of subtitles words on the screen. I count the number of steps I take and skip steps. Hop is needed to keep the pattern of steps in counts of 3. I take forever brushing my teeth and tend to pace, go into other rooms, and I spend way too much time on the internet. This is an odd one, but for some reason as a kid, I had this habit to randomly wave at someone that I don't even know or at something or nothing at all. I still do this now but immediately stop myself, but once in a while I'll wave without realizing it till I see at the corner of my eye that I'm waving again. Pop-Tarts on a rainy afternoon. It started as just some after-school snack Mom quickly whipped up while my brother and I were playing in the backyard during an absolute deluge. Our home was in a place that very rarely got rain, maybe 2 to 3 times a year, so we always loved playing outside on those special days. We were sopping wet, cold, and the warmth of the pastry gave me a transcendental experience. The hot gooiness, the cool wind, the sound of sheets of rain rustling the patio roof. All senses were fully activated at that moment. Ever since then, I've made it a point to get Pop-Tarts when it's rainy. I'll sit outside under a sheltered overhang, and when I take that bite, I feel like I made my old childhood home sitting by my brother. I know most people have that ratatouille food, that one bite that brings powerful memories of when they were kids. Mine is the maple cinnamon Pop-Tarts, but only in a heavy rainfall. My wife thinks this is so strange, and it very well may be. You know those blankets that have satin around the edges? When I was a kid, for as far back as I could remember, I always loved running that satin part between my fingers down to the webbing of my fingers. All of them. Since I'm 36 years old and no longer have a satin-trimmed blanket, I've since settled for using the opening of the pillowcase and the sheets. I also like to run the edges of the sheets near my feet, and run them between my toes. I have no idea why I do it. I assume it's a comfort thing. Lastly, when I run or sometimes subconsciously I tuck my thumb between my index finger and middle finger. Again, no idea why I do it, but I've always done it as far back as I can remember. For an added bonus, I've caught my kids doing it too. Lol. Waking up early. I'm talking 4 a.m. every single day of my life, even when I get drunk the night before, even when I have nothing to do. Every single time. It's been cool for the last 3 years since I got a dog because I go for a long walk with him before sunrise. We make it home on time to sit on the deck and watch the sunrise together. Well, He sits there next to me resting after his walk.